Statistically speaking, black people are more likely to have worse information than white people. What does this mean? Well, it means that there are certain groups of people, certain people in the margins, so the marginalized, they have less access to information than those of us in the majority, so white people. I'm saying this as a 20-year-old white, straight, male, completely born into privilege because of this. I've had society on my side as a straight white male, but I've been somebody that has been taught to appreciate diversity. I am somebody that lives in Campbell, Ohio, with a large percentage of Puerto Rican people, Slovak people, Greek people, and because of this, I value what makes every person unique. I value the different foods and the different cultures. I value um, everybody's different sexuality and everybody's different way of life. But one thing that should be uniform is that we all start on the same playing field for getting information. While it's important to value what makes us us, it is important that we can all learn at a level of equal information access. And that is why I made the website about communicating knowledge gap. And today I'll be discussing it from three different contentions. The first being analyzing what the knowledge gap is. The second being the successes and failures that I experienced and the subsequent tricks that I learned from these success and failure. And then finally, my ideas for the future. So, going into the first analysis, we must question what the knowledge gap is to begin with. The knowledge gap is a barrier between available access to information and those simply without it. These different barriers can vary person to person and culture to culture. They can be anything from psychological to economical, from societal and cultural to something physical. Basically, what this breaks down to is if you're looking on a psychological level, it's what's going on in your mind. Why can't you access this information? You may not simply want to access this information because you haven't been taught anything different. You may not want to access this information or have the ability to access information because you've never been taught that something is out there. You may have never been told that libraries are good, and so you have no use to go to a library because that's in your mind. An economical situation would be that you may know libraries are good and you may know that it's important to look things up on the computer, but if your library doesn't have the funding for proper computers and internet access, then economically speaking, there is that barrier. Societal and cultural would be your families, your culture, not putting that influence of how important knowledge is on you. Even though we know that knowledge is basically the best way out of poverty, these people that are impoverished have this cyclical nature of poverty because there oftentimes is a cultural difference because they don't know any better. It is not the parents saying, "Oh, let us stress education, let us stress access to information," and they can't get out of this, and that's something we need to change. The physical nature of this barrier is once again similar to the economical. You may not actually have computers to look things up. You may not have access to books to read information. So now that we understand what it is, let's specify who this is affecting. And like I said, it's people in poverty, the marginalized. And so why does this matter? Well, it matters because of our advancement and our progress as a nation. I think that we have so much to learn from so many different types of people. It's important that everybody has the equal playing field to get that information. Everybody should have equal opportunity. Everybody should have that available information, and together we can work so that we can progress as a nation, so we can progress not just as a country, but as a people. The second contention that I want to bring up is the successes and failures that I experiences and the subsequent tricks I learned from these. The first we can discuss is success. I really enjoyed the discussion with the concept scholar. I think it provoked thought within me in a further depth, a further level of something that I'm studying and then talking about it with somebody that has truly researched and studied this and it's a part of their profession. I use Dr. Ryan Weaver, who's my communication theory professor, and I really like him. And so I was able to discuss this with him and see how that played into the reality. I also thought the personal analysis was good. So watching a TED Talk and just getting my thoughts on it because as somebody that is interested in this but not necessarily a professional, I'm coming in with a perspective that may be more in line with other people. The failures would be the YouTube videos. One YouTube video, it was made by an amateur, not a big organization like TED Talks, and it has since been taken down and therefore isn't on my site anymore because the people that made it took it down. Another thing is the lack of views. So making my website matter to other people would be nice, but just getting the name and the information and having people want to learn about it is important. And the tricks I learned is it's your website. You should have some sort of credibility and research. You should do research. You should be interested in it yourself because when you are attracted to this information and you want to know more about it, in turn, it's just going to be a better product that comes out. Your website will be better. As for ideas for the future, advocacy is number one. That's talking about political reform. That's talking about nonprofits. So using your vote to bridge this gap to take over these barriers so that everybody has equal access. These nonprofit organizations, so using your time, your money to support them is important. And interpersonal communication. So talk amongst your peers, be approachable so people know you as somebody that has researched this. And secondly, take responsibility. So action, take your action and volunteer. Try to help people, tutor. These are all great ways to help bridge the gap. In conclusion, I want to thank everybody for your time. And if you haven't seen my website but are just watching this video, I'm going to put the link in the description in the bio. And I hope to hear some comments from you on any questions that you have. Because once again, I believe it's important to value what makes all of us unique individual people. But we must remember that one thing that separates us should not be the lack of knowledge that is available to some people and that is not available to others. Thank you very much.